On this episode of Brentwood Stories, we interviewed Buddy McGirt. McGirt is a former American professional boxer who competed from 1982 to 1997. Out of 80 professional fights, he won 73. He has since worked as a boxing trainer, teaching the next generation of young boxers. In our interview, we take a look at his beginnings in Brentwood, his career, and see what advice he has for aspiring fighters.
So before we get into your amazing career, can you tell us a little bit about your experiences growing up in Brentwood?
I'm gonna get emotional. I love Brentwood. I really do. I know times change, and I go through Brentwood now, and I look at it now, and they're making it better, but it's not the same like when I was growing up there. When I was growing up in Brentwood, man, it was lovely. The older generation looked out for the younger generation. There's a store in Brentwood. It's called the La Placita. The La Placita should be a landmark in Brentwood because back in the 70s, everything happened in that parking lot. You had everybody. But if you were young, after a certain time, they would make you leave there.
Oh.
They would say, you don't belong here. Get out of here. And you left out of respect for them. Mm-hmm. We was young, because everybody either we hung out at the Placita or we hung out at the park. And then they closed the park in 78, 79, they closed the park. So everybody hung out at the Placita. But that was the place to be. But like after 5 or 6, when it started getting dark, the old heads would tell the young guys, get out of here. You don't belong here. And we'd leave. I would anyway, because if I didn't, I'd have got beat. So I had to get up out of there. It was great. Even just like the whole neighborhood, man, if you was doing something on Doolittle Street and you lived on Merrill Street, they would say, go home, I'm going to tell your parents. But by the time you got home, your parents found out already. I lived on Suffolk, but all the fun was like, back past Bradley and Yarnell. That's where all the fun was happening out by the park. Vasquez Park, as a matter of fact, to be exact. They had the handball courts there, the basketball courts there, and that was the place to be in the spring and in the summertime. And if you wasn't there in the winter, at night, you was at the Brentwood Rec, because at the Rec was where had some of the best basketball games. I got to say that the La Placita, Brentwood BYA, and the Brentwood Recreation Center should be 3 landmarks in Brentwood.
I think I could agree on those. Yeah, from what it sounds like. Very good. And how about your connection to the library?
When I started boxing, I was just like a fanatic, and it was something for me to do as a kid. I fell in love with boxing books. So I went to I used to go to the library, and I found a book. It was called The Heavyweight Champions. And I read it. I read the book from front to back. And then they had a lot of good pictures in there. So I was like, damn, I wonder if they noticed if I take pictures out. So I waited a couple of times. And then I take one picture out, then I take 2 pictures out. And then one time I went to get the book, and I couldn't find it. So as I was leaving, the librarian says, are you looking for this? I was like, damn, I'm caught. So I say, yes. She said, well, listen. She goes, how about you just take this book and good luck? I'm like, well, why are you giving it to me? She said, because you took half the pictures out already. She said so. She goes, take the book and good luck in your career. And I was like 13 years old. And she gave me the book. And I took off and went home. And then my mom thought I stole the book. Mom was like, you stole a damn book from us. I said, Mom, I didn't steal the book. The lady gave it to me. And my mother's like, what? I said, I'll take it on there. My mother said, okay, I believe you. And then I took all the pictures out and hung them up on my bedroom wall.
No, Mom, I didn't steal the book. I only stole half of it.
Hello? I didn't tell her that part.
So you did mention it in the beginning of that story. You said you were a boxing fanatic. How did you actually get started interested in it and then actually doing it?
At the Brentwood Rec, when I was 11 years old, I just got finished playing BYA football. And it was when it was cold, and we used to go to the Rec because at the Rec they had basketball. Tuesday night was ladies' night, but they had basketball, and downstairs they had like ping pong, and they had weightlifting and professional boxing, not amateur, just pros. So we used to go down there. I said, freak it, I'll be a weightlifter. Football season's over. I see if I can lift weights and get some muscle for next year. So we was lifting weights, and one day a friend of mine asked the trainer's name was Gene Moore. He says, when are you guys going to have boxing for kids? He says, as a matter of fact, next Saturday, he said, January 17th, but you got to be 12 years old. And that was my 12th birthday.
Oh.
So I was like, okay. I said, what time? He said, 12 o'clock. So I went home, and I was raised Catholic. I used to go to St. Anne's Church. So I had to go to religion that Saturday morning. So my mother says, you could join boxing, but you got to go to religion first. I mean, so religion was out by 11. So my mom dropped me off at the church at St. Anne's. And then I walked from St. Anne's to the Brentwood Rec, joined boxing, and here we are now.
Very nice. So can you describe a bit maybe your process of training for a boxing match and like what it's like to actually be in a boxing match, like comparing your training to actually getting there?
Oh, man. You know, as an amateur, I wasn't the best amateur in the world because I had asthma. So after a round and a half, if you went past a round and a half, you pretty much had me. But I think boxing and playing football for the BYA helped my asthma. And the training, I really didn't understand the true meaning of training until I had about 15, when you started fighting in the AAU competition. Then it was like, wow. I mean, like when I was 12, I went to one tournament. I went to the Ohio State Fair. And I was just like in shock when I was there because I had never been nowhere like that, you know? They had 3 rings set up, 3 fights going on at one time. And I was about 99 in ring 3 in my first fight there. So we got there by noon. I didn't fight till like 9 o'clock at night.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it was a hell of an experience, but it was a great experience because I've seen fighters there that I used to see fight on Wide World of Sports, amateur fighters. And then I understood the importance of the road work and stuff like that. You know, I thought run around the block, you'd be okay, but no, that wasn't the case. So as I got older, like 15, 16, and I really, really understood it. That's when I really just got more serious. I mean, then when I turned pro, then that was it.
Yeah, so you went professional in 1983?
82.
Okay.
I was a senior in high school. And when in high school, my last period teacher, his name was Scott Emmerdorf. He was my shop teacher, auto mechanics teacher, rather. And he would let me leave early to catch the 12:27 train because I had to travel to Jersey City. So it should take me 3 hours to get there. So I would get to the gym, train, and come back another 3 hours, get home by 8:30, 9 at night, go to sleep, get up 5 in the morning, run, and then after that, go to school.
Nice.
And I had a pregnant girlfriend at the time.
I was going to say, so you pretty much went pro, graduated high school, and had a baby on the way. How did you do that all at once?
All I can tell you is it was hell. It was tough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was tough. You know, there was days that I'd say, you know what? Because when I first turned pro, I wasn't making any money. And I'm like, should I get a job? But I just kept pushing. I'm like, nah, I can't quit now. I've come this far. I can't quit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then there was days that, you know, I had to travel with my son when he was a baby. He was like 5, 6 months old. Have him on a train going to New Jersey. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't easy, but it was a life learning experience for me.
Having a kid and all that, what would you say is like the hardest part during that time of getting started?
Getting started, the hardest part was getting that energy every day to get on the train, and especially in the wintertime. In the wintertime, it was, you know, and you know, you got just enough money in your pocket to get there and get home. I mean, you got enough money to get to Jersey, get back. Yeah, I had enough money for every day.
Yeah.
So if I got hungry in between, I just had to be hungry till I got back to Brentwood. That's just the way it was. You know, there was back then, thank God, you know, you could get a breakfast sandwich for 99 cents, you know. Thank God for that. But in between it, you know, I just had to like watch every dime I spent because at the end of the day, I had a kid.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I got $20. Do I go out to eat or I go buy Pampers? Just getting adjusted and learning. It taught me responsibility at a very young age.
And that's very good to have.
Yeah, you trained in Jersey. Why Jersey? Like, was there something about this gym or
Yes.
something?
When I had my first pro fight, I trained at the Suffolk County PAL, which was in Babylon at First Precinct on 109. I trained there for my first pro fight. And then the guy who managed me saw an old man that night. He had 4 guys fight. 3 guys won. The guy who didn't win was the guy that I fought. We fought to a draw. And he says, I want that old man to train you. Long story short, we drove to Jersey 2 days later. We met the old man. The old man says, I would love to train you, but there's one problem. I said, what's that? He goes, I'm not coming to New York. He goes, I'm almost 70 years old. I'm not going out of Jersey City. So if you want me to train you, you got to come here. So I said, well, I'm in school. He says, okay. Well, what time you get out of school? I told him. What time can you get here by? I told him. He says, I'll see you then. So he took me where the PATH station was. He goes, you got to take the PATH train from Manhattan to Jersey City, which was Journal Square, and you got to walk from Journal Square to the gym. It was like a mile and a half. And then my manager took me to Manhattan, and he says, "Okay, you're going to come out of Penn Station." Then we drove. He goes, "You're going to catch the PATH train here on 33rd Street." I had to go under a shopping store. Had to go downstairs, catch the PATH train. And my life I did that from 1982 to 1988 when I became champion, where I made enough money where I could go to training camp and not have to make that trek anymore. So I did that for 6 years.
It's a long time to do like a 6-hour round trip every day.
Especially with a kid growing up, and that's a lot.
And if it snowed, I got stuck in Wyandanch train station for 5 hours in 1983. We got hit with a blizzard, and the train stopped right there in Wyandanch and didn't go any further. I sat there for 5 hours before I went back to Brentwood.
Oh my God.
But I met a lot of people on the train, and I gained a lot of fans on the train.
Well, that's good. Yeah, always nice meeting people as you go around.
When I was researching, I found so many articles in like Newsday about your fights and like all the different things that happened in your career. Are there any moments that like stand out to you?
To me, every moment was great. Looking at where I started, how I started, there'll be days I'll be on a train like on Saturdays, and I'm going to Jersey, and all my friends from high school were going to hang out in Queens. We're going to hang out in Manhattan. And they were like, "Come on, buddy, man, you should come with us. When the train gets to Jamaica, come off, man, don't go to the gym." And I'm like, "Nah, man, I got to go." I said, if I start hanging out with you guys, they ain't going to stop. And that's not my goal in life. I mean, my goal in life is to do something with my life.
Gotcha. So you had to find the balance between training and being able to just live your life as well.
Right.
So what would you say you kind of like did outside of the fighting at that time, like with your balance, like having a kid, family, and all that stuff? Like,
well, I wasn't with my son's mom. I was a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
My son used to spend the weekends with his mother. I would hang out and go out every now and then, but not too far, not too much, because at that time my mom worked nights. So if I went to hang out during the day, I had to be home by 11 o'clock. Because my mom worked the night shift at Pilgrim State Hospital. I had to be home before she went to work to take care of my son. Yeah. So I really couldn't do much.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like you didn't have a lot of time to do much of anything else. But
I'm kind of like, you said how you got into the gym. I'm like envisioning like this little toddler in a gym with like all these men boxing. Like, did they really like when he came?
Oh, yeah. I put him in his stroller, give him a bottle. I put his formula. And I put some baby food in the formula. This way when he ate, his belly got full, he'd go to sleep. I mean? And then when he got older, when he was like, 5, 6 years old, I'd take him to the gym with me. I wouldn't let him hit the bags. I make him sit down because I didn't want him to box. So I says, if he starts doing it now, he's going to want to do it forever. And I didn't want that for him. I wanted him to do what I didn't do, which was go to college. Mm-hmm. Because I was supposed to go to college. I mean, my English teacher, Mr. Herzog, was very mad at me because I did not go to college. He was not mad, he was upset with me. He's like, "James, you're too smart not to go to college." I said, "Yeah, but I got a little mouth to feed coming, man. I can't feed the baby going to college." He was like, "I'm telling you, you should go. And I did it. My mother was mad at me, upset with me. But I did it, I said, no, I gotta take care of this responsibility.
So why don't we go back to boxing itself?
You had something called the money punch. Can you describe what that was?
My left hook.
Your left hook?
Yeah. When I hit you, if you didn't go down, you did funny things standing up. My left hook was my bread and butter. That was my shot. That was my signature punch. To the head or to the body.
Very nice. I mean, you did have a really impressive record, so I would believe it. What was it? It was, I think you had 80 fights and 73 were wins?
Yeah, 73 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw, 48 knockout.
Very nice.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Truly the money punch. I can see it. So let's describe your experience from transitioning from athlete to coach, because you're coaching your son now.
No, I was. My son is 40 years old now.
Oh, okay.
My son went to college, and then when he was in college, someone told him, "You should be a boxer. Your buddy McGirt's son, you'll be rich overnight." Because my son never boxed as a kid, and he never told me he was boxing until he had a few amateur fights. And then he dropped out of college. He thought he was going to be a millionaire overnight. I'm like, "Son, whoever sold you that dream lied to you." But the transition from being a fighter to trainer, I'll put it to you like this: being a world champion, and then okay, you're not fighting anymore. Now you got to deal with everyday life. The hardest transition in the world. You can't even explain it, because 1 minute you're on top of the world is at your feet, you know, and then one day it's all gone. I mean, I got to admit that when I was fighting, I took care of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I fed a lot of people. I mean, I did a lot for a lot of people. And when I retired from boxing, just to be honest with you, I lost everything. I got a letter from Uncle Sam, looked like a phone book, and I was scared to open it. And they said, "You owe us a lot of money, sir." When I went and checked the bank account, it didn't add up. So that's what made it even tougher.
Yeah.
Because everything was gone, and my pride wouldn't let me ask nobody for help. You know what I mean? Like, my family, I'm just going to be strictly honest with you. My family sat back and laughed at me and waited for me to come to them for help. My sibling, I wouldn't do that. I said, I'd die before I do that. Never, 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 never. So I had to figure it out. And then I decided to start training people, but it wasn't easy in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you got to figure it out, bud. And I said, okay, first of all, you got too many cars. Let's get rid of a lot of these. I mean, and I did that. I said, you only can drive one. So I got rid of a whole bunch of cars. And so I had to do what I had to do to survive. So that's what I did. And my family, the crazy part is that I can hear the whispers like, he's going to come to us soon. I'm like, nah, I refuse to do that. Because then I know if I do that, I would never hit the end of it. My kids won't hit the end of it. My grandkids won't want to hear the end of it. So I refuse to do that. You know what I mean? And then, I started training, and it started off slow for the first year and a half, 2 years. And then I got my big break. I got a job working for Don King.
Oh, nice.
And then it took off from there. It's crazy. When I retired, it was tough just not being able to fight anymore. You know what I mean? I've been doing it since I was 12 years old. And then one day, bam, you're not doing it no more. It's like, it's over. Yeah. I had injuries. I was only 33 years old. I was young still. And I would call people up just to say what's up. But they thought I was calling them for money. So they would say, yo, champ, can I call you back? I said, okay, no problem. I hang up. I never called them again. But then 3 years later, that was 97, 98. Say 4 years later, they call me, hey, champ, how you been? I said, yo, check this out. It took you 4 years to call me. I'm going to hang up now, and I'll call you back in 4 years.
Oof. Yeah.
I learned you get that second opportunity, you got to be smart. And I learned from it, So I try to educate a lot of these young fighters today that, hey, man, the money don't last. You get $1 million, you got to understand. People say, oh, you made $1 million. But at the time, you're thinking $1 million. But, the managers get a percentage. Trainer gets a percentage. Uncle Sam gets a percentage. The people working under you gets a cut. Your training camp, but before you know it, you're down to 400,000.
Yeah, and you gotta live on that.
But you're living like you got $4 million. So when your bills come in every month, it's like, hold up, this is bad math. You know what I mean? But when you're young and you're running wild, you're thinking it'll never end. One day you wake up and you face your reality. You know what I mean? That's when what kicked in was, damn, I should have went to college.
Yeah.
But I will say this though, what I did learn in school, it helped me as I went in from the transition from fighter to trainer. And I would sit down and, cut deals with managers. They start running figures and hold up, man. So hold up, slow it down. My 7th grade math teacher told me how I got to figure this out. And I figured out, and they look at me like, boy, man, look, I can count, man. Slow it down a little bit. I was having a conversation with Don King one day, and he's using all these big words. I said, yo, Don, do me a favor. I said, talk English. I said, if you talk English, I said, I can sit here all day and talk with you. He goes, you think so? I said, I know so. I said, because my mom always stressed to me, I had to have a good education if I wanted to box. That's what helped me. And it helps me to this day.
So how do you feel the sport's developed since you started, since you've gotten to see it from now, like training and everything like that?
Only thing, there's more money, of course, which like any other sport, but it's not the same. Like today, people look at a fighter, they judge him by his record. If he's not undefeated, he can't fight. When I was fighting, I'd rather fight a guy undefeated than fight a guy with 10 losses. Because with the guy with the 10 losses, you didn't know which guy was going to show up. The guy with the 10 losses, or say his record's 20-10. You're like, okay, which guy's going to show up? The 10 losses guy, the 20 wins guy. And those are the hardest guys to beat. But today, everyone, oh man, the guy lost the fight, he can't fight. But like, no, you're wrong, man. You're wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong. But, everyone today, listen, boxing is the only sport where someone can hang around it for a month and think they're an expert.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I played BYA football for 2 years. I don't think I'm an expert in football.
Yeah.
So before we end, I did want to ask you one last question. This is kind of like our staple question that we kind of ask everyone who specializes in something. You were an athlete, you did the training. What would you say to someone who's considering a career in boxing? What's your little tidbit of advice?
I would tell them, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Okay, why?
It's tough. I would say, prepare for life after boxing. When you start, don't wait until it's over. I mean, when you start, okay, understand that you're going to have to give up. If you really want to be successful, you're going to have to give up everything. You have no life. When your friends go out, you're home watching TV. I mean, they used to be like, oh, buddy, man, come on, I said, man, I got to get up at 6 a.m. to run. Are you guys going to get up with me? They're like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
You have no life. You know what I mean? You have to live it, eat it, sleep it. You know what I mean? Because it's just you in there. You can't call timeout. You can't put in a sub. At the end of the day, it's you. You're the one that's taking the punches. That's the reality of it. You're doing it for you, and there's days you're not going to want to run. Let me tell you, I got over 100,000 miles on Wicks Road and Fifth Avenue. I mean, because rain, sleet, or snow, I was out there running. You by yourself. It's the loneliest. Boxing is the loneliest sport in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're winning, everybody's there. Everybody loves you. But as soon as you lose, you're by yourself.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, and you make money if you make money. Here's the key now. Because you can start up here and then boom, never get over that hump to make the big money that these guys are making today.
Yeah.
So, and then the key, this is what I tell guys, whether you don't make it or if you do make the money, when your career is over, what are you going to do now to keep that money and make more money for you so you can live good? Without a good education, without preparation, it's not going to happen.
I really like what you say with making sure to watch out for yourself after fight, like after fighting, wait for everything. Because my brother's an MMA fighter, and I tell him all the time is like just be prepared for afterwards. And
their careers are short. MMA fighters' careers are shorter than a boxer.
Yeah.
So he's really got to be careful, man. He's really, because whatever you get, you take it, you put it away, man. Act like it don't exist. When God gave me another opportunity as a trainer, and I came back and rose back to the top, I got smarter. My little house I got in Florida, my mortgage is $900. I got a 4-bedroom house, 2 bath, 2-car garage, got my nice screen in the back patio, and my mortgage is only $900. My property tax is $1,500. I'm cool with that. My friend's like, buddy, move to California. I'm like, for what? I have a friend in New York. He owns about 6 houses. He lives in Babylon. He goes, buddy, when my last kid graduates high school, he says he's selling everything, and he's going to buy a 1-bedroom condo so his kids can't come spend the night. He said, McGirt, he goes, it costs so much damn money to maintain these houses. He goes, I'm making money, but I'm spending half of it.
Yeah.
He goes, I live good. He goes, as soon as he has a daughter, he goes, as soon as she graduates, he goes, he's putting everything up for sale. He's buying a 1-bedroom condo, and they can't spend the night. He said he'd get the money to go to a hotel if they came over. He said, he's not dealing with it. So I've always thought about moving back to New York. Mm-hmm. Too damn expensive, man. But thank you, I really appreciate you guys. Have me reminisce about Brentwood.
Yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to come on the podcast.
This was awesome.
Yeah, it was a really probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
It was great.
No problem. But listen, tell the Brentwood, I don't know who you got to speak to. Brentwood Rec, Brentwood BYA, La Placita. Three landmarks. Because they're only three things that are really standing from back in the day.
Yeah, they are. They're actually working on the first schoolhouse. They're working on restoring it. I know they're doing that now. It's on the school district property. But we have we have weird landmark signs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we went from like the Red Owl legend.
But you know what? Also, there's a place called Tinker Auto Parts. That's across the street from my mom's house on Suffolk Avenue where I grew up. Tinker Auto Parts has been there like 900 years. When I was a kid, you used to go there, you could get oil for your car for 79 cents, a quart of oil. But they used to help me out a lot, though. If you have problems with your car, they would just tell you how to fix it, then they'd sell you the part.
That's awesome.
And I can't believe they're still there, Tinker Auto Parts. My mom passed away, but her house, my nephew lives in it now. Next door, they put a Walgreens.
Yeah.
It's on the corner of Suffolk and Wicks, where Wicks and Fifth Avenue meet.
Yeah.
Right on the corner is the Walgreens. There's a house right behind it. That's the house I grew up in.
Very nice.
That was my stomping grounds. That was the place to be.
Well, you'll have to tell him to come visit the library.
My nephew hated school. So
we have plenty of things that are not related to books now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we do a bunch of different programs, crafts. We have like the laser engraver. We have
when I come to Brentwood, I'm gonna call you, so I'm gonna come by. When you guys are around, I'm gonna come through the library for sure.
Yes, please do.
Absolutely do.
Yes, I gotta come. I gotta come visit my library. That place at times when I was younger and when I needed somewhere to go, that was the place I'd go. And sit there and read the same damn book over and over. But hey, it kept me out of trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's a good place to go, and you got a lot of access to everything here.
Yeah.
So,
but thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you so much for coming out, and thank you so much for letting us interview you. This was a pleasure.
All right, thank you.
Take care, buddy.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Are you interested in being interviewed on Brentwood Stories? Email adultprograms@brentwoodnylibrary.org for a chance to be featured on the podcast. That's adultprograms@brentwoodnylibrary.org.